today's video, I experienced 100 days of Terraria, and also one of my viewers did also ask me to make a video on this anyways, so I'm gonna be going ahead. But without further ado, here's what happened. So on day one, I started by chopping down trees. We needed to get as much wood as possible because we needed to build a house. And if you guys have never played Terraria before, in Terraria you can actually build houses that NPCs can move in. And you can get plenty of different NPCs, and then these little NPCs you get can actually sell you stuff, but the downside is you actually have to make housing for them, and they end up living with you, which is pretty crazy. Now, one thing I do want to note is that we will be playing on T-Mod-Loader version 1.4, and you're probably going, what the heck, this is vanilla, you can't be doing that. Well, there isn't a reason. So the main reason is that I don't want to go look at the wiki every 5 seconds. So we're going to be using a recipe browser mod, and this is going to let me look at recipes and like certain items in the game, but it's no cheating. And then I'm also going to be using a boss checklist mod and an NPC checklist mod because I'm not quite the expert at the game. And finally, day tracker is just going to keep track of the days because this is a 100 days in Terraria video. So after building our little base, I decided to go ahead and venture into the desert, and then out of nowhere, this vulture literally just tries to come down and murk me, and I'm like beating him to death with my wooden broadsword, and I barely make it out alive. And then out of nowhere, I'm trying to build a wall, and this stupid sandbug just snipes my ass off the brick. Like, what the heck is that? What the heck? So after a little expedition in the desert, we go ahead and decide to go mining. I went ahead and made some cactus armor because in Terraria you can make tons of different armor and tons of different ore you can get from mining. We go ahead and we find a chest booby-trapped with TNT, so I'm going ahead and I'm like, okay, I need to get this out of here, so I'm going ahead and just mining all the TNT around it. I'm making sure that there's no TNT, so when I open up this chest I can get my loot without dying, so I'm just disarming everything from it. I even went ahead and jumped up top and got rid of the dart trap. And the second I open up the chest, a boulder kills me. Alright, so for days 2 to 4, I started working on my base of operations. So this is mainly going to be where I'm going to have like my chest and my furnace. So I started making kind of a little like shack where I place all my stuff. Because in Terraria you need certain crafting little benches and furnaces and anvils to make different type of things. I also started placing chests, and this is what our main thing is going to be for storage. And then I started going ahead and making the base of our elevator, which we're going to be used because you can actually go to hell in this game. And yes, it's like hell, you know, with like demons and stuff. For the rest of the majority of the day, I decided to go back down to underground to go ahead and start mining because we needed to get way better armor than what we currently had so we could start tackling some bosses. Later, we eventually encountered a spider biome. Now, if you're wondering what this is a giant, like, spider den. And the really cool thing about it is you can actually find a web slinger inside of it. And the web slinger is exactly what you're thinking of. It's literally a Spider-Man web slinger, which lets you grapple to walls. So after going ahead and clearing out the whole spider cave, we found nothing. There was no web slinger, which sucks. It sucks. I really wanted one. And we had a couple of close calls with spiders, but we cleared them out. You know, it wasn't too bad. We had to take them out, but it was alright. Eventually, we ended up coming across a mushroom biome, so we just went ahead and just, you know, took out a bunch of spiders. And we also found a little pot that had a money pot, and we got 25 gold, which is pretty crazy. And this mushroom biome was crazy because it was also mixed with a spider biome. So we were hoping to see if we could possibly get a chest. We also found a heart crystal, and if you guys have never played Terraria before, heart crystals are used to give you more life, and you can get a total of 400 hearts in the game. And then we finally found the spider chest. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, I'm hoping it's in there. At long last, we finally got the web slinger. After doing all of our hard work mining, we decided to go ahead and make a full set of tungsten armor. This is going to give us a drastic defense boost and a nice little armor set bonus, which is going to help us out in our upcoming battles. Alright, so we ended up and decided to go ahead and start exploring the left side of our world. We actually encountered the jungle. Now, early on in the game, the jungle isn't really that useful. You can make some cool things with some of the materials from enemies like jungle armor, but that's only if you are going for kind of a mage setup or a magic setup. We already have tungsten armor or like silver equivalent, so it's still really good. We'll get an upgrade later down the road, but right now I'm just exploring the jungle and just trying to fill out the map so I can see what's on each side of the map. Okay, so then we went ahead and decided to go venture into the Crimson Biome. And the main reason we're in the Crimson Biome is to make the slime crown so we can fight our first boss. And then, like the complete idiot I am, I decide to come out of the cave immediately after making the slime crown, and I just decide to summon the King Slime right away. And at long last, after the grueling battle, we finally just beat our very first boss of the game, getting us some gold and a solidifier, which was pretty epic. So then we went ahead and decided to go back into the Crimson for the remainder of day 7. So in the Crimson Biome, there are little Crimson Hearts. If breaking these Crimson Hearts drops a special item specific to the Crimson Biome, but it gives you a weird text message, and if you break 3 of them in a row, it actually summons a boss, which is what we need to further progress. So after breaking 2 orbs in preparation of the boss, I started to make a little boss arena. This was going to help us out because this boss specifically kind of flies around, and we're kind of have to fight him underground in this little cavern. So I was like, alright, I'm going to make a little boss arena, and so it'll be a lot much easier to take him out. Then I went over to the orbs and just threw bombs at the orbs, trying to break it and blow it up, and it blew up and the boss summoned. And right before we kill him, he literally just murks me at the very end. And this kind of told me that we were definitely underprepared. So in the following days, the Goblin Army actually kind of just appears randomly after you defeat a couple of bosses in the game. And the cool thing about the Goblin Army is after you finish the Goblin Army and kill them all, there's a NPC that will spawn, and it's a special NPC called the Goblin Tinkerer. Now, the Goblin Tinkerer will spawn in randomly. Basically, he will be at a random point in the world, and he's usually underground in like a cave or something. And you have to go around and find him at some part in your world, which kind of sucks. However, finding the Goblin Tinkerer will allow you to reforge your weapons, meaning you can go ahead and change the weapon modifier that is on your weapon, and you can try re-rolling it with gold to get the best possible weapon modifier. However, you're basically gambling at this point, and he just takes all of your money. Now, the other good thing you can buy from him is rocket boots. These obviously allow you to fly, and then the tinkering station. And the tinkering station, or the tinker's workshop, basically just allows you to combine accessories together to make like these ultimate super good accessories. So first things first, I need to go ahead and expand our base. So I decided to go and build another house, and this one, I'm going to be a little more creative, because our first one was, well, it was an ugly box, let's just say that. So I decided to make, this one more creative. Put some more stairs in, and be a little creative, add, a little basement in there. And then for the rest of the day, we decided to go ahead and find the Goblin Tinkerer. Now, his pesky little butt can never be found because he's always underground. And I looked freaking everywhere for 3 days for this guy, and I couldn't even find him. And then, dude, the zoologist moved, and I got the notification, and I was like, dude, I have to go now. She is my favorite NPC in the game, dude. The zoologist is just so frick. Oh, and then we went in the desert, and we also found a little pyramid temple. So we mined in the pyramid temple, and we actually got a flying carpet. And what's pretty dope about the flying carpet is, well, it's literally like a flying carpet from Aladdin. You can fly with it. So this was just another mobility item we could add to the list and use. So we're mining, right? And, you know, I'm getting through the water, coming out, and I go into this little marble cave, and then I see that piece of shit. That freaking crack addict goblin. Look at him. He's sniffing it up in the marble caves. Look at him. My freaking god, that devious man. After days of tracking his ass down, it only took us 3 days of our life, and we finally found him just so he can sell us our rocket boots. It's about damn time. So one of the NPCs in this game that I absolutely hate is none other than the traveling merchant. And, well, I mean, he sells shit. He literally sells garbage to you all the time. A heart hairpin. Like, what the hell am I gonna do with that? A mystic robe? Seriously? So I knew I had to do one thing, and one thing only to this man. Now, you may think I'm a psychopath for doing this, but we're purging heresy right now. So basically, as I build this giant mud box, the traveling merchant cries in fear for the area he's stuck in. But it doesn't matter now, because I'm going to drown him. This is for all the sucky trades he gives me every single time, and the amount of scams he does. Look at him. Oh, I'll give you a gold ring. Please, please, nurse, help me. No, traveling merchant. You ain't running out of here now. We're gonna be using this little water duplication glitch and drowning your ass right here, right now. As I'm filling up the water, you know, I'm just spamming it up. The traveling merchant is getting a little devious. Look at him. Look what he does. The traveling, I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay. So I'm just spamming it. Oh, he jumps. What? Whoa. Did I build this high enough? I wasn't. What the? He just jumps out. Oh, no. I don't fuck with this shit. Okay, so we're building back up. Get your ass back in. We're building a higher ass bridge. And he ain't escaping this time, buddy. You ain't getting out. So the second time around, I built it much higher. And then I just started pouring all water possible in to just drown his ass right now. I'm just pouring it in on him. Look at him jump and try to get out of there. You dying. Yeah, watch as the bubbles go down. He's finally drowned, and this is for all the shitty trades and all the shit he gives me. He is finally going to die and drown. Look at it. There goes the health bar. Bye-bye, Gallius. Bye-bye. As the health drowns down on him, he is gonna die. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, and we also got some sick drip from killing him. Pretty worth it. So then we went ahead and started working on the arena for the next boss. So the next boss is actually a giant-ass skeleton, basically, and he guards the dungeon. And in order to, you know, summon him, you talk to this old man outside the dungeon, and he has a curse. And his curse is that, I guess, when you activate it, he summons a giant skeleton. You guys will see in a bit what I'm talking about, but we have to do this in order to get access into the dungeon. And now it was time to start the curse. Killing Skeletron now unlocked us access to the dungeon. So now that we had the dungeon unlocked, I went ahead and decided to hop in the dungeon, get some new items and weapons, because in the dungeon you can get various different kinds of just items and things that you're going to find in the dungeon. We also need to kill skeletons so we can make a brand new armor set called Necro Armor. Necro Armor is really good for range, because currently for the playthrough we are going for a range set, and I also rage. Yeah, whatever that was. Oh, and then we also need some better armor, so I went back and actually refought the Brandon Cthulhu, except this time, I didn't get killed by him. I actually ended up murking him. So after that, we killed him, and then we went ahead and made some Crimtane armor. So as you guys know, I absolutely hate the Goblin Tinkerer. You know, he's just a scammer. No one loves him. So I decided to make a brand new edition of Poor Town. So I went ahead and made a little crack shed out of dirt. And this is where we're going to shove the Goblin Tinkerer, because he literally is just always in there sniffing up his coke, sniffing up his crack, you know, and just trying to scam our ass. So I said, nope, we're shoving you in this tiny crack shed. And that's where he's living nowadays. We then went ahead back into the dungeon to go ahead and make our Necro armor set. In order to do this, we need bones and cobwebs. So I set up this kind of like bootleg farm thing basically in the dungeon, and I would just sit in this wooden box and like shoot these skeletons, and then once I got enough bones, I went back to base and I crafted our awesome bone armor set. I also started to continue the elevator, and we got pretty deep with it this time. So we ended up taking the whole elevator all the way down to hell, and as you can see, it's well, it's pretty terrifying down there. They got some demons, some hellbats, and some other stuff. And then I made a big mistake.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
So I kind of just let all the lava in, ran into a bat, jumped in a pool of lava, and well, yeah, I died. I got swarmed. I couldn't even live. I just died. So I know what you're thinking. Day 22 already? Like, what happened? So basically, when I was filming my footage, I accidentally filmed certain footage at a certain resolution, and I wasn't able to change the resolution, so it's just super pixelated and super tiny, and you can't really see anything. So we missed a portion of the time. So basically, for what happened in that time period is I went back to hell, and I mined a bunch of hellstone, and I also got a Splunker hat. But besides that, that's all we did. So I also wanted to get this new gun called the Quad Barrel Shotgun, and well, in order to get it, we need a graveyard biome. So I just repeatedly killed myself over and over and over in a pool of lava until I made enough tombstones. But yeah, so yeah, once we bought the Quad Barrel Shotgun, it's actually really good for pre-hard mode. It does a lot of damage, and it shoots 4 bullets at a time, so it's a definite upgrade from the base shotgun. So there's one specific event I really want to do in the game, which is the Old Ones Army. If you guys don't know what it is, it's a Dungeon Defenders 2 crossover event that allows you to fight basically the Old Ones Army to reward you with a bunch of like cosmetic items, armor, and different weapons. We also need this just to check off all the bosses on the list. So I went ahead and did this. I made kind of this cool like sky ship with a little island attached to it, and basically my idea was to make this like giant floating island, and it looked like a giant sky ship like connected into it. I thought that would look pretty sick, and that's kind of the idea I went with, although the sky island needed some work as it was just a big giant flat floating piece of land. But besides that, I thought it still looked pretty sick. I also then went ahead and fought the Old Ones Army. You have to fight them in waves, and we went through wave 1 through 5. We can only do this because we're in pre-hard mode, but once we get to hard mode, we can actually go and fight higher levels. So the next boss on the list was a Torch God. In order to summon him, you have to place like 101 torches in a room. I had really no idea what this was actually going to do from the start, but then it just starts summoning fire bolts at you, and you can't do anything to dodge them. I tried slapping them with my sword, but it didn't really do anything, and I just ended up tanking all the shots. And well, I died a lot. Shit, fuck. See, I'm done. He murked me. It ended up taking us about a solid 3 tries, but then we actually ended up finally beating it on the very last one, and we got the Torch God's Favor. And all it does is just lets you change the color of torches per biome, which was kind of stupid. So one of the armor sets in the game I really wanted to get is the pink Eskimo armor, and what it is just pink Eskimo armor, and you get it by like farming zombies in the snow, which are like Eskimo zombies. So I made this little farm here in lava, and I just wanted to get dripped out. So I went ahead and farmed it, and we ended up getting the set. You also need some pink thread to make it too, but you can just buy that from the cloth here. We then started working on our Hell Bridge for a like just giant platform on the ground for the final boss before we enter hard mode. And for you guys who have never played Terraria before, you guys will find out what it is. I also decided to go ahead and go back to the jungle and fight a boss we skipped, which was the Queen Bee, but I was so overpowered we took her out super easily. We also then had to prepare for the final boss of pre-hard mode, so I went back to Hell and started to continue working on the Hell Bridge, as this would be very, very important. I found the angler by the beach, so I decided to work on a house for him. I wanted to make something that looked kind of cool, so I kind of styled it up and made out of palm wood that would match his suit. So there were also 2 more NPCs I needed to collect, which was the golfer and the stylist. I couldn't find the stylist at all. You usually find her in like a cobweb biome, but we didn't end up finding her. However, I did end up finding the golfer in the desert, and for exactly what the golfer does, well, he sells you golf balls. I also started making another house, and this would be for future NPCs as well as the golfer, which we went ahead and made our way back down to Hell. And after all the prepping, it would finally be time to fight the final pre-hard mode boss. This was definitely going to be a crazy one. In order to summon him, you have to drop the guide's voodoo doll in lava. Then have just finally defeated the Wall of Flesh, which was the last pre-hard mode boss. Defeating him, we would now enter hard mode. Welcome to hard mode, ladies and gentlemen. This is where literally everything wants to try to kill you. If I was related to one thing, it would be that the game is literally now Australia. The next thing we need to do is go ahead and mine Crimson Altars with the Pawn Hammer. We need the Pawn Hammer basically because mining them releases the hard mode ores into your world, allowing you to get a bunch of new armors and weapons.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
We also went on a bit of a mining spree. Basically, after mining all the Crimson Altars, we then had to go and just collect every single ore, and you know, the ore goes up in tiers, so you need the Palladium drill to mine the Cobalt, then you need the Cobalt drill to mine the Mithril, and then so on and so on and so on to get the Titanium gear, and you know, whatever. We also started making our next armor set, which was the Frost Armor. This was really good because it buffs melee damage and range damage. And this is pretty much going to be the next ranged armor set for us before we actually go ahead and upgrade to Shroomite or Chlorified Armor. We then went back to mining to mine for the rest of the titanium ore that we needed to make the Frost Armor. Shortly after, we went ahead and crafted our full Frost Armor set. Oh, and we found a hollowed mimic. All I wanted was to get the Daedalus Stormbow. So I got a bit triggered that I wasn't able to kill the Mimic, so I made a Key of Light and I just shoved it in a gold chest, and what this does is it just spawns a Mimic. So I fought the Mimic hoping I would get the Daedalus Stormbow. I had to take him out with my repeater, and I did decent damage to him. The Frostburn from the armor helped a lot, but after killing him, he dropped a Crystal Vial Wand, which is absolute dog shit. So we actually end up making a jungle farm, and what we use this jungle farm for is I was going to use it to get this item called the Uzi, which is basically like an earlier machine gun you can get, which is better than the Mini Shark or just as good. However, we ended up not even using this later on, so it was kind of useless. It really didn't matter later on. We do use it to get some golden fruit, which I'll talk about later down the road. But one good thing out of it is that we actually ended up finding the wizard. And, well, the wizard didn't really have anything. Look, wizard. Hello. Shop. What is he selling today? Garbage, 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 and garbage. So I finished up my little jungle farm, and I was just killing some mobs that were spawning in here. And then I get a text message. This is going to be a terrible night. Yeah, so I started absolutely just freaking out the moment I saw that message. And if you guys don't know what that means, when that message starts, that means a mechanical boss is going to be summoned. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you're going to see in a little bit what that exactly is. So then we were prepping for the final boss to come, and then the twins were summoned. So you're probably going, whoa, man, whoa, what? Okay, so you killed the boss. What do you get from killing the boss? All right. So you get hollowed bars and souls, and basically lets you craft weapons and armor to better progress. That's basically it. Nothing crazy. We don't end up making the hollowed armor. We don't really use the bars. They're kind of useless for us. Next thing we need to obtain is a magic quiver. In order to get this, it only drops from a skeleton archer. Now, they're very hard to find. You have to find them underground, and the drop chance is 0.1% chance. So I made a giant farm. In order to make this, you have to make a giant, like 160 by a 100 brick box, so nothing can corrupt it. Then you have to make your little lava pools, divide it in half, and then after you divide it in half, you then have to cut it in half again. You have to make sure you bomb the different areas, and after you bomb the different areas, you have to cut out all the areas, you have to place lava on the bottom so no other biomes spawn. Then you have to place jungle blocks, and after you place jungle blocks. So I actually ended up getting it first try. Basically, what ended up happening is halfway through making the farm, I accidentally killed 4 skeletons, and one of them actually ended up dropping it, so I got the magic quiver early. So from here on out, the clips are going to be a little weird. Basically, what ended up happening is a portion of my recordings got recorded at 360p, and I can't really rescale them up, so they look super bad quality. You can barely understand what's going on. So there's going to be a few gaps here and there, and also one of my files, I also accidentally got corrupted somehow. I don't really know. I tried to load up the files, it didn't work, and oh yeah, and we also got a dateless storm bow. Sadly, that got deleted. So we then started prepping for the second mechanical boss, aka the Destroyer. And if you guys are wondering what he is, well, we didn't really fight the Eater of Souls on my playthrough, but you guys will see what this guy is like when we fight him.
Whoever wins
No! Oh, and we finally found the stylist, which was pretty hype. She was stuck in the cobwebs in the little mushroom biome, and she was selling a beard. And from here on out, I would now be wearing the most legendary thing ever, a beard. Oh, and we also ended up fighting Skeletron Prime, which was pretty cool too. And we actually beat him, getting us some nice Souls of Fright. We also went ahead and refought the Destroyer. And we also actually beat the Destroyer too this time, so that was pretty cool. It was like a cool rematch, but we actually won. After killing the Destroyer, we went ahead and made the Drax with all the hollowed bars and the souls combined. This is a pickaxe that allows you to mine chlorophyte ore, which is the next armor we need. We need to get chlorophyte ore in order to make shroomite armor. I also started working on a brand new house. This was going to be used just to store some more NPCs. I then started working on our giant, man-made mushroom biome farm right above our house, and this was basically going to be used to get the truffle mushroom, the shroom guy. If you're wondering what the shroom guy does, he sells you shroom. So if you're wondering for what's up with the next part, there's going to be a little jumps in the times, mainly just because we do have a lot of missed footage, corrupted footage. But without further ado, the main stuff will still be there. So we went in the jungle, and we're getting ready to fight the next boss, which is Planetara. So we made a little bit of advancements, not too many, but we did fight a pirate invasion. That was the main thing you guys missed, mainly, that I didn't get on footage. And we also got a new haircut, too, as well as some flame wings. So that's pretty hype. We also got the grenade launcher. This drops from Planetara, and I gotta say, this weapon was a definite ranged upgrade. Look how cool this shit is, dude. We also went back to the shroom guy, and we bought the auto hammer. This is gonna let us convert chlorophyte bars into shroomite bars. We also got the jungle key, which is gonna let us go in the jungle temple and fight the next boss, which is Gollum. So a lot of that footage, once again, got scrapped. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to piece together what I have left, but it just wasn't there. It was corrupted. A lot of the footage is corrupted. I'm sorry. But this is basically what the jungle temple looks like. This is what Gollum looks like. He's a really easy boss, so it's not really worth watching. In order to fight Duke Fishron, which is the next boss before we attempt the endgame stuff, we needed to get truffle worms. I couldn't find them on the ground, so I resorted to getting a clan terminator and just corrupting my entire jungle, turning it into a whole new mushroom biome. Right as we were about to fight Duke Fishron, a solar eclipse actually happened, and we got some Mothron wings from this. We also died a lot as well. Duke Fishron is one of the hardest bosses in the game, especially for ranged. I'm using mainly launchers because that's my setup with my shroomite armor, and this guy absolutely wouldn't die. We would summon him the second we would see him, attack him and shoot him, and then within mere seconds he would just kill me. He didn't care. He would kill me over and over and over again. I would die until one time I finally made a better weapon, and I started using the stinger that you get from Gollum, and this thing actually shredded him. I had to pray and juke, and then I eventually ended up killing this stupid Bitron. Like, come on, man. He took forever to kill. I then attempted Lunatic Cultist, and, well, that didn't end so well.
Deja vu, I just been in this place before, higher on the street, and I know it's...
First things first, we needed to get absolutely dripped out before we fought the final two bosses, which is the Lunatic Cultists and the Moon Lord. First things first, we tackled the Lunatic Cultist by taking out all the cultists, summoning the leader cultist. He shoots meteors and lightning at you, but he's pretty easy to take out. I quickly used my Electrosphere launcher, and I cleared him easily by dodging his lightning as well. With the Lunatic Cultist taken out, he then summons 4 pillars: Vortex, Stardust, Nebula, and Solar, each of which are corresponding to each class in the game: the Ranger, Summoner, Mage, and Melee class. All the pillars also have their own corresponding little alien invaders that try to attack you and take you out, and in order to destroy the pillars, you have to kill a certain amount of enemies to break the shields down, and then you can kill the actual pillar. After defeating each pillar, we get Stardust fragments. We can then use these different fragments to make different weapons that are going to help us against the Moon Lord fight. After defeating all the pillars, we took a look at the weapons we could make. I do have the option to make a gun or a bow. Bows are kind of dumb, so I obviously opt for the gun. And after defeating all the pillars, we also have roughly about 2 minutes before the Moon Lord is actually spawned in. And this is the final boss of the game. So I was panicking a little bit, trying to make final preparations before I actually fought the final boss of the game. And it was getting pretty hype. So I climbed into my sky tower. We have a big long platform with my little ship, and I go, alright, it's time, boys. The final boss fight of the game. Let's do this. With that being said, we had just defeated the final boss of Terraria. And this concludes our 100 days in Terraria. If you guys like this video, thank you guys so much for watching. I do really appreciate all the support of you guys watching all the way to the very end of the video. Thank you guys so much. If you guys can, please leave a like and subscribe and comment down below what your favorite part was and if you have any suggestions in the future. This video took me a long time to make and it was about 3.5 weeks worth of editing, so it was a very long video. But once again guys, thank you guys so much for watching and I will see you guys another time. Peace out.